In the midst of the rising hostilities between India and Pakistan, the G7 has urged both countries to de-escalate tensions and engage in direct dialogue. Now, in a statement, the group of 7 countries urged for maximum restraint between both the countries. It has also called for both New Delhi and Islamabad to engage in diplomacy for a peaceful outcome. Meanwhile, the White House said that US State Secretary Marco Rubio is in constant touch with the leaders in New Delhi and Islamabad. It also added that US President Donald Trump wants both countries to de-escalate the conflict. Trump has urged for both India and Pakistan to stop the war and added that the US has had good relations with both nuclear powers.
Oh, it's so terrible. My position is I get along with both. I know both very well, and I want to see them work it out. I want to see them stop. And hopefully they can stop now. They've gone tit for tat, so hopefully they can stop now. But I know both. We get along with both the countries very well, good relationships with both, and I want to see it stop. And if I can do anything to help, I will be there.
Furthermore, US State Department said that Secretary Marco Rubio spoke with Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir. He also called for the Pakistan Army Chief to de-escalate tensions. In Central America, Panama, which is a non-permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, has called for both India and Pakistan to exercise maximum restraint. In a statement, the country's foreign ministry has urged both countries to prioritize diplomatic dialogue to avoid actions that could escalate the conflict. Similarly, the European Union has called the war between India and Pakistan as very concerning. Speaking at an informal meeting in Poland, the EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said that they are trying to mediate and simmer down the tensions. France, on the other hand, said that it is deeply concerned on the current situation between India and Pakistan. It has also called for de-escalation and protection of civilians. In addition, Russia has asked both India and Pakistan to show restraint, while Ukraine has called upon both parties to maintain composure. Further, Belarus has called for sustainable peace in South Asia and settlement of disputes through consultations and negotiations. Additionally, Norway's foreign ministry has reiterated its condemnation of the Pahalgam terror attack, while urging both parties to de-escalate the conflict. Meanwhile, Turkey, which has been backing Pakistan, has expressed its concern over the ongoing conflict between India and Pakistan. Remember, Pakistan is using Turkish drones to fire inside India, attacking civilian sites and military infrastructure. On social media, Turkey's President Erdogan extended his condolences to the people and the state of Pakistan. Elsewhere, China has also been backing Pakistan and has called for a de-escalation in a statement. China's foreign ministry urged India and Pakistan to give priority to peace and stability, remain calm and restrained. Now, in the midst of all of this, Saudi Arabia said that its Minister of State for Foreign Affairs visited India and Pakistan in a move to de-escalate tensions between both parties. Other countries like Brazil, Singapore, Sri Lanka and Nepal have called for both countries to show restraint and urged for a regional peace. Now, joining me live on the broadcast from Delhi is Ambassador Anil Trigunath, former Indian diplomat and distinguished fellow, WIF. Ambassador, thank you so much for joining me here on the broadcast. We just spoke about the international reactions which are coming in to the ongoing war. Now, as far as, let's start with the US. Let me get your appreciation on that front. You know, very quickly, the US president was very quick to condemn the Pahalgam attack, even offered to mediate. Then the vice president comes out, says it's none of America's business to mediate between the two countries. Then the Secretary of State comes out saying that he's willing to mediate again. And then you have the IMF fund, which was declared and, given green lit for Pakistan. That happened just yesterday. What do you feel regarding America's stance in this? Do you find them taking any kind of a stance on what they're going to be doing?
Well, I think that whatever you have also mentioned, and we have seen the very first day when President Trump said, these guys have been fighting for centuries and all that, as if it was a given. The problem is that what is the cause of that? You know, root cause of the problem between India and Pakistan is the cross-border terrorism perpetrated by Pakistani deep state and I would say the military and the intelligence. And that has been going on for more than 3 decades. Now, the world has often taken double standards against India and against other. Whenever it's convenient for them, they support Pakistan. When it's not, they put some sanctions, and they keep on giving these kind of mixed signals. Now, Pakistan feels emboldened, and I believe that what happened yesterday of the 1.2 billion or 1.3 billion of the facilities again to Pakistan, and you must understand that in Pakistan it is not their government, elected government, so-called elected government. It is the establishment, or which is militarycracy in the country, which runs it. And you have a jihadi general there who has been after the Pulwama attack when he was the ISI chief, and now he is the army chief, and therefore he is also involved in that. A few days ago, what he said was also a creation of it. So they use these terrorists as a tool and instrument of their foreign policy. Now that is something that the rest of the countries in the world are unable to appreciate or understand. Why so? When 9/11 happened, and what did America do? Went and blasted the whole country in Afghanistan and created the whole mess. They suspected some kind of things in Iraq or elsewhere, and they went and demolished the countries. So you can't have double standards. World should think about exactly what to do about this terror haven. And they are just talking, okay, de-escalate. What about de-escalate? Once again, we will have another Pahalgam or another Pathankot or another Pulwama by Pakistan. So those are the things that need to be done. As far as the United States is concerned, it's playing both sides. And of course, we have a global comprehensive strategic partnership. And then they bring out this bogey of the nuclear powers and all that. This is what is made out by the media and some of them their establishment. I think they should try to tell Pakistan, what did India do? After the escalation that was conducted by Pakistan-based terror groups, which was admitted by them, killing 26 people, innocent people, and the way it was done in a heinous crime, India simply took recourse and retribution against the terror groups, 9 terror groups, and 9 places, and killed them. And they know who all were there. Now, they are proscribed, internationally proscribed terror groups, gallivanting around there under the tutelage and protection of the Pakistan army. Now, in that kind of a situation, international community is very much I must say, loves the idea of these verbose statements, but they must deal with the reality of Pakistan.
Ambassador Trigunath very rightly said, when you talk about the double standards that are clearly on display, what out of America's own history can one gauge? When they were attacked, we all understood what happened post 9/11 and how they went after these countries in the Middle East, in West Asia. On what basis do they come and tell India that you need to resort to some kind of dialogue and diplomacy? But as you mentioned, they play both sides and they will give it as per convenience. But, I also wanted to understand from you that now the world, there is nothing for anybody to debate with India over regarding no presence of terrorists inside Pakistan. Those visuals of those funerals being held, state honors being given to to terrorists who have died in Operation Sindoor, and military personnel standing behind a known terrorist, designated terrorist here. Is there any way that Pakistan can still go ahead and now say that we don't back terrorists anymore, because Pakistan has pretty much unfurled the curtain on its own reality, something India has been shouting and telling the world since ages?
No, you are absolutely right. In fact, the Western world did not even recognize terrorism as a problem till 9/11 happened. It's only after that they started talking about terrorism when Bush said that I'll flush them out from wherever and all kind of things. And we have seen what has happened after that. On the other hand, as far as Pakistan is concerned, the whole world knows it. Their intelligence knows it. They are being briefed every second day. But they have used Pakistan. As I say, that Pakistan has this uncanny ability to encash its nuisance value with the major powers. Earlier, it was in the case of Afghanistan. They tried to say that then the Islamic bomb that they have, so-called nuclear bomb, and then that's where they try to just dangle around these carrots to all the people while creating mischief in the region. And therefore, India has to take the things in its own hands. Nobody wants war. India is the last one. We also said in the first time when we attacked these 9 terror structures, infrastructure there, and the terrorists, it was very clear. India says it's non-escalatory. It was very targeted. It was not against the military or against the civilian installations. What did Pakistan do in return? They did that. And secondly, all their ministers, starting with Musharraf, starting with this Khwaja Asif, their defense minister, and their foreign minister. All of them are taking great pride that we were the tools in the hands of the Western countries to nurture and use these terrorists against their enemies. Now, so they have agreed that they are the factory, even if for outsourced purposes. But that's what they are using now against India for the last 3 decades. We have to sort them out. There is no other way. And India is doing that. And I hope during this time we are able to also take out some more remaining hideouts that we know about it. If Pakistan wants to escalate it to a full-fledged war, so be it. India doesn't want it.
India does not want it. Very rightly said, Ambassador Trigunath. And since day one, India's strikes were non-escalatory in nature, only targeting terror strikes. And what is extremely, a point of appreciation here, in the midst of all that Pakistan is doing, whether it's the disinformation campaign, trying to sow seeds of discord inside India, using international planes in its airspace as human shields in the middle, and of course, escalating across the line of control, India is still going out and targeting these terror outfits and taking them out. The ADGP, I just released images of that just an hour ago. My question to you, sir, was, I was speaking with a very decorated Major General a little earlier in the day, and he told the same thing, that there will have to be some kind of international intervention here to bring some kind of calm. Do you agree with that? And if so, which country can play some kind of role here?
Well, I personally feel that we have a lot of friends who are trying to do that. You have seen Saudi Arabia, you have seen the Iranian foreign minister was here, the Saudi deputy foreign minister was here. We have seen the other leaders have been talking to Prime Minister Modi, and the foreign minister has spoken to all the 13 countries in the UN Security Council. Unfortunately, this time Pakistan happens to be also in the UN Security Council. And along with the help of China, that's what they try to do, is modulate the earlier statement that was issued at that time, which was claimed a great deal about that, okay, this was not added or that we got deleted. So I think that now Pakistan, once it's under tremendous pressure and the military pressure, in my view, will go to the UN and try to get some kind of a UN Security Council resolution, binding kind of a Security Council resolution. But I don't see that anybody, simply put, we have always said that we are not fighting the people of Pakistan or the Pakistan government or want to demolish Pakistan. No, India does not want that. We've always wanted a prosperous Pakistan, a good Pakistan, a Pakistan which is internationally responsible behavior, the indulgent. But what have they given us in the last 3 decades? So there have been wars and wars every time. And they are trying to create mischief and problem in India. They can't tolerate the fact that Kashmir can prosper. That is the biggest problem for them. And that's what is why the army, secondly, army was, of course, as you know, the army and the political leadership in the country is very much on the back foot there. Nobody likes them. Nobody has that kind of trust. So this kind of a war actually is providing them some little more legitimacy and little more breathing space, I would say. People will realize, Pakistanis eventually will realize, that the bread and butter issues are being sacrificed for the indulgence of the army. So I think that as far as countries are concerned, we have always conveyed our position. We don't want escalation, but it is up to Pakistan. If they are, in last 3 days, every time there has been a bigger escalation. Therefore, there had to be a bigger response from India. So we are doing a measured and proportionate response.
Yes, it is up to Pakistan now, whether it wants to continue going up the escalation ladder, because that is essentially what we've been seeing them doing. A little earlier in the day, sir, the Secretary of State held a call with his counterpart in India, but when he had a call in Pakistan, it wasn't with his counterpart. He spoke with the army chief. Is that an acknowledgement from America's side on who's really running the show there?
Well, America also has excellent relationship with the army establishment and the ISI and CIA. They have had very close relationship in the past. We have seen how they fought the Soviets in Afghanistan and all that. So they continue to do so. And that's why I told you that how Pakistan encashes its nuisance value. That's also, it's there. But you are very right. This is an indication, and we also know it. Who's calling the shots in the country? They make the Prime Minister. If they don't like him, they throw him out like Imran Khan. And if he tries to be a little more objective or wants to be a little more democratic, anybody for that matter, or has a voice. So you need to be a HMV. The his master's voice. His master is the army chief and the ISI chief, so they try to do that. So there has to be an internal assessment within Pakistan. Is Pakistan's leader, do they still, after 80 years, want to continue on this futile and dangerous path? India will wipe them out if that is what they are willing to do so, by different methods. But at the same time, they need to be, I think, change their behavior. That's it. What the least that India wanted was that stop nurturing terrorists and using them against India. That's all. Now, Marco Rubio's call, obviously, to him was right, because he's the guy who's fanning the trouble. He has been involved. As I said, he was earlier the ISI chief when Pulwama happened. He is now the army chief when we had Pahalgam. So I don't have much hopes from this guy, but I hope in the American pressure, he understands that he has his limitations and he cannot go beyond a few days.
And, all minds which are following this and dignitaries, all established individuals we've spoken with, everyone understands that the first escalation happened on 22nd of April in Pahalgam. But the seeds of that were sown in that speech that Asim Munir gave on the 16th of April. And you find those seeds of religious undertones being, really pushed through, whether it was 16th of April in Asim Munir's speech, whether it was 22nd of April in the manner in which those civilians were shot dead in Pahalgam, or the attacks that they're carrying out specifically in gurdwaras, in churches, and how they're trying to target so desperately inside Amritsar, and then simultaneously trying to push in that disinformation campaign in India, suggesting that India itself is targeting a country, a region within its own country. Of course, all of that has been debunked very strongly and vehemently by the Foreign Secretary in the press briefings. But that only shows Pakistani desperation here, sir, in your appreciation, how they want some unrest inside India to give them leverage.
Well, this has been their game plan forever. You see, and he is not for nothing that he is known as the jihadi general. His speech that day, which he gave it to these people and talking about the differences, we are not same people. Of course not, we are the same people. We are different people. That's how we behave differently as a more responsible nation. You have seen it is our what our women leaders. I mean, even in our communication, these briefings that are being held, you have these two fine ladies, army officers and Air Force officer, who are telling them that what is it? The whole world knows what Pakistan stands for. And Pakistani army has grabbed that country's resources. They are the biggest rentiers and the landlords in the country. They want to protect their own Jagir. That's it. That's what they are looking at. And how can they do it? Because for them, they need India as a target. So all kinds of venom that they're trying to spread attacking, for example, a Gurdwara in Amritsar or something like that, and telling that it is the India. Give me a break. Who believes that? Nobody believes that. But there are still, on their side of the story, there are people who might be buying that argument. But at the same time, I think that we have to also strengthen our communication strategy, which should be more proactive.
Ambassador Trigunayat, another thing, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this as well. There is a very evident sentiment in the entire country at this point that they want to stand. We as a country need to stand with our armed forces, not give out anything that takes away from the effort of our armed forces as they go up against a rogue country like Pakistan. And this is something, it mostly stems from what happened after 26/11, where a lot of the reportage went in the favor of the terrorists, and the scars of that still remain very true. And this is it's part of the Indian conscience at this point, that people are on their own, on an individual basis, they are checking others for not sharing anything that can compromise the effort. Do you appreciate it in the same manner?
I think this is remarkable, and this is how it should be.
Yes.
For us, country comes first.
Yes.
If country is not there, you are not there. As simple as that. So if country's security gets compromised by somebody being extra bold or trying to show off to the world that we have a tremendous freedom, you are compromising the strategic dimensions of a warfare. That is absolutely not permissible to anybody. And I'm very happy that India stands united in every which way possible. And that is something that is remarkable when things are happening. We have been patriotic, but we have also been overly critical of many things for no rhyme or reason. And very often the criticism happens also because some people have motivations, some have very different kind of approach. But fortunately this time we are seeing a united India, and united we must stand. That's when we can defeat the enemy hands down.
United we must stand. Perfectly said, Ambassador Trigunayat, because more India stands united, more it breaks Asim Munir's plan of sowing seeds of communal discord inside India. Thank you so much for joining on the broadcast. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Would definitely like to have you on the show again to discuss as the matter escalates from Pakistan's side.
Thank you so much.